Fans, we are live on the Hannibal TV on YouTube with another edition of the Shooting from the Hip podcast. My name is Jack Kilby, Executive Vice President of Great North Wrestling, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in this endeavor, the man known as the Kingpin, the King of the Streets, one of the Baldies, the man who is an ECW original, and quite the prankster, as always, the one, the only, Kingpin, Angel Medina.
What's going on? What's going on, man? You know, I know you don't celebrate it, but I still want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving from our neck of the woods, you know.
Thank you. You too. How was it? Did you go ape on the turkey, the stuffing, the gravy, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I ate pretty well. It was pretty, but I balanced it out because I really didn't want to overdo it, especially since I've been in training. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I didn't gorge myself and put up my food. So some good food.
Oh, you went robotic there. Now we're frozen. That's a first. We haven't had that happen in this particular show. But you know what? I think Angel will be back. In the meantime, I'll take an opportunity to announce new programming coming to the Hannibal TV on YouTube, debuting this Wednesday. We will be having the Hannibal TV this week. This show will consist of Hannibal and myself going over the noteworthy news items of the week, providing some analysis and conjecture. And of course, we will welcome much fan participation in this show. So watch for that this coming Wednesday, and it will be recurring every week on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central Time. You're going to want to check it out because we already have a lot of interest in the format and really looking forward to it. And look who's back.
If you don't want to talk to me, if you're doing some angle hitting buttons, because I had full service here. I looked at my internet. I'm like, it's 100%. So you need to pay that bill.
You were frozen. You were frozen, my friend. So
I don't know.
You may be experiencing cold-related technical difficulties. We just announced the new show coming to the Hannibal TV on YouTube, and that is the Hannibal TV this week, whereby Hannibal and myself will break down the newsworthy items of the week with some analysis and of course lots of fan input. But to back it up a second, you went all robotic when you were talking about what you consume for Thanksgiving, and I think the fans would feel robbed if we didn't lay that out again. Now you're in training and you were exercising some restraint, but what did your meal consist of?
It was just simple, like I said, it's a little bit of turkey, a little bit of mashed potato stuffing. But again, I didn't really overdo it. I'm still focusing on my training, but I didn't want to like cheat myself out of the holidays, especially during these times of year: Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween. Those are my three main staples of like eating good, living good. But I just balanced it out because again, I work so hard to get to this certain level. I don't want to like fall off track, you know.
Well, absolutely. And as the reigning, defending Great North Wrestling hardcore heavyweight champion, we've got things coming in 2025 that I'm working on and will be announcing soon. And you know, the big money players are going to be directly involved in everything happening in Great North Wrestling with you defending that title. Maybe we didn't really talk about this much lately, but are you because it is we're almost in the holiday season, or we are in the holiday season, are you feeling generous by giving that big, large Big Daddy Oreo a rematch, or would you like to go on to bigger and better things? As a big money player, you can call your shots.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's still the holidays, and I still have a taste for turkey. So that big old turkey could come in the ring. I'll give him the opportunity, you know, with those big old drumsticks that he calls legs. But I think, yeah, I'll give him an opportunity, man, because like I said, I take all challenges. You know, I'm a Power Ranger. I battle all monsters. I have no worries. So if he wants to come back and get another whooping, especially the new and improved. I mean, I wasn't even 100% when I beat him. Think about it now that I'm like focused and full of energy. This guy is just going to be like looking like he's just standing still no matter what he does. So yeah, I'm excited. If he wants a little taste, wants to take the Pepsi challenge, he's more than welcome.
Well, and let's not forget that he stooped to the level of spitting in my face. So I would suggest that we give him that rematch, and then we get, I don't know, a forklift or something to haul him away to the local medical facility when he's done and beaten for good. That really sounds good to me.
No, I agree. I agree. But you know what also made my day in regards to during the holiday season, that even though it's over, Thanksgiving, I did get a phone call from Trudeau to wish me a happy Thanksgiving. Even though me and him are tight, I'm feeling kind of nervous because I don't follow too much of the Canadian politics in regards of how things are going, but this new, like the story about some guy who's going to be the new prime minister that everybody likes, and he's kind of like see eye to eye with Trump. I don't know the guy. Yeah, I didn't know his name. And that since they're going to try to pull those tariffs and stuff, I heard Trudeau went down to Mar-a-Lago to try to like smooth things over because he don't want that 25% tariff hitting him. So
I think he told Trump what's up. I think he, being the tremendously strong and effective leader, and most of all a communicator, he in his own way said, you know what, this is how it's going to be, and deal with it. So we're going to look forward to the next few months for sure on that front. But again, you received a call, I didn't, but that's fine. He probably is quite busy and only makes time for his most close and trusted friends, of which you are. So congratulations on that one.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It always feels good to hear from my friends.
Speaking of which, I understand yesterday you did a live in-person interview with the godfather of the Hannibal TV, Hannibal himself. He is in Wichita, Kansas for, I guess, the winter into the spring. And I would remind fans, if you haven't subscribed to the Hannibal TV, in addition to the new Hannibal TV this week, there will be a whack of content coming that you're going to want to see. More in-person interviews, of which this was one of the first of the new series. And there's already a clip up whereby you and Hannibal are discussing the Hurt Business and their transition to AEW, and the full interview will be up shortly. Did that feel good to do a long-form career interview in person again?
Yeah, man, I really appreciate Hannibal just taking the time out of his busy schedule to come down to Wichita, Kansas, not just for me, but, being in my neck of the woods, and even think about sitting down and doing an interview. I mean, we had a good time. He asked some real hard questions. You could hear me stutter a little bit to like, should I say it or shouldn't I say it? Do I want the heat? I'm like, fuck it, and but it was yeah, it was awesome. It was just something, like I said, met some good people there, very professional, very funny. So I mean, like I said, Hannibal was a good dude, man. I enjoyed my time doing that interview.
And just as a programming note to be released before Christmas, I have the opportunity next Saturday to go and interview a man who was a standout in several promotions, including Grand Prix, Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA, so many territories. The legendary man known as No Class, Bobby Bass, going to be doing a huge career deep dive with him, and very much looking forward to that. That'll be released before Christmas too. So at the end of the day, we're pushing strongly towards 400,000 subscribers. And fans, you're going to want to get on that train, subscribe, hit the notification button, and you won't miss anything. But speaking of big news coming up, I have to mention the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance One and Done show, reunion show, farewell show, whatever you want to describe it, happening in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Saturday, May the 3rd, in the former ECW arena. The Hannibal TV will be there covering it, but also Hannibal is looking forward or campaigning for a match on that show, because he like myself, to be able to work in the ECW arena would be a tremendous opportunity. And this is going to be probably the independent event of the year under the leadership of Joel Goodhart, the original TWA promoter, and Chubby Dudley Bay Ragney. They're great guys, really putting together a special show. There'll be a WrestleCon during the day, followed by the show at night. I can't say how excited I am for this event. It will definitely be the highlight of the shows that I go to this year, and that's including WrestleMania. You have so many matches under your belt in the arena, including one we're going to review, a classic one today.
Yeah.
What is so special about that now 2,300 arena?
Well, before I even go further with the 2,300 arena, I want to say something to the TWA. You know, if you need some good talent, if you're looking for the Suntan Superman, you can't have a show without me there. So, you know, I'm just putting my hat in the ring just to see myself, perform again in the ECW arena. It's a awesome place, man. It's a legacy. It has history. You know, awesome fans, awesome food, awesome vibe. You know, everything that's just. I just love going back because that's where I started. That's where everything started. And it just brings back a lot of memories, you know, even though it's brand new and everything's shiny and everything don't look the same, it still has that vibe of what I remembered back in the days with DeVito and Chris Chetty and Danny Doran, you know, cracking jokes, you know, and it's going to be a blast just to walk through those doors, you know. It's just, its words can't describe how I feel about that building. I wish I would have bought it.
Yeah, the vibe is still there. I've been there. You know, I famously attended several of the original ECW shows back in the day, and have been there since it became 23. Well, New Alhambra first, and then 2,300 Arena. It's definitely a sacrosanct place for professional wrestling, and this event is going to be huge. There will be not only a broadcast, a streaming broadcast, but they're filming a documentary to capture the event, the WrestleCon, and the whole. I think it'll be the recognition that TWA deserves for setting the template for that awesome Philly style that was picked up by Todd Gordon and Eastern Championship Wrestling, and then ECW under Heyman. So it's going to be something that fans, you want to check out and attend in person if you can. We're working on a potential bus trip here for the fans of Great North Wrestling. That's in
a bus trip to Philly.
Yeah, from Toronto.
What the fuck? That's a long drive.
7 hours.
Oh my God, I couldn't do that. That's too much. I'm not that much of a fan.
Well, I think there are several that are, and it's I've done a couple of those long bus trips back in the day, and there's entertainment. We watch videos. There'll be some surprises, but that's still in the developmental stage. We'll see if it comes together. But the bottom line is that's going to be a history-making event and one that you won't want to miss.
Hey man, maybe you could do like some not you, but like jokingly, man, like break the Guinness Book of World Record of Roadhead. Get some like some of those get some of those girls. 7-hour trip, Roadhead, Guinness Book of World Record.
That sounds like a felony. Before we leave the introductory portion, I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out the one and only floor manager for Great North Wrestling, the impresario known as Brandon Brown, DJ Immortal, who designed this fabulous graphic for us for the new show. Again, The Hannibal TV this week, debuting Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 Central. But let's get into a little bit of the news. I just saw this morning that Matt Riddle debuted for TNA, and he appears to be looking at some kind of a program with Jeff Hardy. What are your thoughts on Riddle showing up there?
I mean, I like Matt Riddle. I met him. He's a cool dude. He's always gimmicked up, you know, the Smiz, you know, but he's a nice guy. I mean, I only met him just briefly. Like I said, we didn't really kick it that much because I don't do the sticky icky, but um, really nice guy, real humble, real laid down to earth. So yeah, I'm happy for him. Anytime that somebody makes an impression on me that's really positive, I'm always happy that they're making that money and living that good life. So I'm happy for him. He deserves it.
Well, yeah, and he was an incredibly over performer, especially during that period that he was with Orton,
Hmm.
and where the pigeons in his entrance would fly out from his nether regions, and very, very popular. I was kind of surprised, but not really, that he was released when he was. But hopefully, he'll have a good run there. I'm a very big classic TNA mark up to about 2011, and
Yeah.
they seem to be doing lost interest there, but they seem to be doing some good things. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out when a great guy and one of our Great North Wrestling veterans is a featured talent there. PCO Pierre Carwillet. They've got quite a good stable there. So best of
Yeah.
luck to Riddle.
Yeah. PCO, man. I mean, the guy is, because I'm going to be 53 in February. I want to say he's like late 50s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the guy is just moving like just incredible, man. Especially taking these type of like chair shots. And I saw a video one time he dislocated. I don't know if that was a gimmick, like he could dislocate his own shoulder, but he had a bone sticking out of like a collarbone gimmick that came out. I mean, the guy is awesome, man. I mean, I praise him for continuing to push forward as a pro wrestler and repackaging himself to something different. It's awesome, man. I'm happy for him, and all respect.
And the other interesting sort of it's a brief item, but the WWE Network is coming to an end for good
Mhm.
in I guess the end of December when WWE programming moves to Netflix. I haven't heard whether the archive, the library is going to be going with it or not, but they
It
seem to have
has to.
opened. Well, they seem to have opened a YouTube channel for free with massive amounts of content on it. I've been going through that as well. But what are your thoughts on the network? Personally, I liked it when it was a standalone. When it was merged into Peacock, not so much. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I mean, going to Netflix is just you have nothing holding you back. You could do anything. You can have people run out there naked. Yeah, I mean, seriously, you don't have a choke collar on you, so it could be like a brand new attitude era. It could. I'm really excited to see how it grows, and it's just billions of dollars that's involved. So, and also I've seen the montages that they've been doing, the promos that are more like cinematic movie clips, like Pulp Fiction type of thing. So I think it's going to be very, very exciting, and putting a new spin to interviews and angles and stuff. So yeah, absolutely, I'm pretty stoked about it.
And tonight, the WWE will be in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, for Survivor Series with two War Games matches on the card. One the ladies and one the men's, featuring the pairing, or sorry, on the same team of CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Huge fan of the War Games gimmick match going back to Jim Crockett Promotions and the Horsemen against the Superpowers, and those first few years were amazing and still entertaining even into the 90s. But what are your thoughts on the team of Roman and CM Punk? Do you think they're going to build to some kind of a program between the two? And would you be interested in that, with CM Punk being, somewhat, he had a great series against Drew McIntyre, but he's not getting any younger like the rest of us and seems to be injury prone.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I know they're going to try to do some type of angle, involving the wise man, and where the loyalty leans really. And I think, yeah, I mean, like I said, he's not a spring chicken, but he could adjust and make the match, memorable. So yeah, I mean, I don't really watch wrestling all the time, but I would definitely check that out just to see how that match goes.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be checking that one out. I'm not really interested in the women's war games, but they have some good stuff on the undercard too, with Braun Breaker in the Intercontinental title and a match with Gunther for whatever they call their World Heavyweight title now. So it sounds like a pretty decent show to check out. I want to move on to a segment that a fan actually suggested, sent this in, and we're going to premiere it right now. And that is a breakdown of a classic match in which you were a participant. And this time for the inaugural edition, we're going to be looking at the final ECW arena show, Holiday Hell, December 23rd, 2000.
I don't remember it. I'll be honest.
Well, we'll show you some stills to jog your memory.
Sure, absolutely.
But it was Saturday night in the ECW arena. The this actual still says December 23rd. The other one said December, early December. But regardless, the final show in the ECW arena that we will be in coming in May. And that is a world tag team encounter between the champions, Danny Doring and Roadkill, and the dastardly Baldies. There you are, looking menacing, coming down with DeVito. You've got good old Atlas security in the background, doing your thing here again, preening for the crowd. Or I guess you were in this particular shot. You struck this pose a lot, and you see our friend Steven DeAngelis in the background there.
Yeah.
What were you doing there when you strike that pose? Did you see something of interest, an attractive young lady, or
no? Just seeing them coming out, to face us, Danny Doring and Roadkill. So I get very amped when I'm ready to face an opponent. I don't back up. I go forward. So that's the reason I was on the ropes, just to show them that there was no intimidation from their part to like I'm walking backwards into the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think about your team with DeVito here. It's kind of an unlikely pairing, but it certainly worked and was one of the highlights of latter day ECW. Do you think that the Baldies gimmick could have been pulled off with somebody else, or was that chemistry that you had with DeVito what unique to him?
Well, it's kind of difficult. You can't see yourself without your partner, that you have with now. But look at the situation with we were talking about it yesterday, in regards to about what would have happened if I would have ended up in LAX, because it was between me and Hernandez. But nobody can see anybody else besides Hernandez. But, in the what if world, the Marvel comic situation, what if the Kingpin was the one that was part of the LEX? Would it made any difference? Would it, push them further, But yeah, so it's like I don't see myself with anybody else besides DeVito. But there was nobody else in contention. Vito left for WCW for the Mamalukes. PN News was, got phased out, so that didn't happen. Rob Price was there for a minute. He disappeared. And then it was Vic Grimes. And then Vic Grimes fucked up, with the New Jack situation. And so, yeah, everybody, Tommy always said to us that everybody was interchangeable besides us. So no matter what happens, everybody will be going through a revolving door, but we will always stay consistent. So yeah, I don't see nobody else besides DeVito as my partner, due to the dynamics and the chemistry that we had in the ring.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I would agree. And then the man Roadkill, I want to talk about him in this match, because honestly, I think I forgot how skilled and athletic he was for a very big man. And right off the top, he's taken it to the Kingpin there. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I also forgot that you could sell like an MF, like they say. What was your experience like working? Look at that massive clothesline there. It looks like, he almost got you in the jaw there. What was your experience like? Not necessarily in this match, but in totality, working with Roadkill.
I mean, I got along with everybody. Roadkill was a little bit stiff, but that's just part of the business. Once you get used to somebody, you just know how to work around that. So, I mean, he was just not really a talkative person. I mean, he talked, but he was a different individual. So he collected a lot of toys. He was his hobby was like collecting old WWE action figures, because he said one day he wanted to open a shop that sold all this memorabilia, and he was just collecting them and putting them in storage. So I don't know what he ever done with them, but that was his main goal, to try to sell collectibles.
And look at this move off the top rope for a guy that again was about what 320 ish.
Probably.
He could definitely fly, could he not?
Well, just like you put, it's like putting a fat person in water, fat floats. So of course, when he's diving off the ropes, he's like a giant flying squirrel.
My goodness. Did you find working with? You said he was stiff, and he was obviously, he had a unique style, I would say, including this kind of high flying. Did you ever feel concerned that he might injure you because of something inadvertent? Like, it's one thing to have a Rey Mysterio coming off the top like that, and another a giant man such as Roadkill.
Not really. I'm never concerned about getting hurt. I mean, if it did happen, it was not malicious. I knew if it was malicious or not. And Roadkill always took care of me. Yeah, he sometimes punched me in the nose or hit me in the cheek or something, but it was not intentional. That was just his style. And once you get in the ring with somebody that you do a lot of matches with, and let's say they're pretty stiff, then you know the timing, and you're able to make sure that you pull the punch a little bit. So yeah, I mean, Roadkill was good. Like I said, he never hurt me.
Well, that's what counts. And there, we'll talk a little bit about. We'll talk a little bit about Danny Doring. Here you are doing an impressive
double hook suplex.
Yep, double hook suplex. What in terms of your battles with Doring? I also thought he was an underrated talent as well. What were your thoughts on working with him globally? Not necessarily in this one.
Oh, dude, I loved working with Doring. We always crack jokes and stuff. So, I mean, the guy still is a good dude. And we always hook up every time we had it on the show. We're always cracking jokes and stuff. So, yeah, man, I mean, I could have seen him pushing forward, winning other titles if they split the tag team. Everybody was not. I'm saying everybody had an opportunity to become world heavyweight champion. So I could see Danny as a world heavyweight champion in ECW. I mean, that's just not. There's there's certain people that you're like, I don't think so. But yeah, Danny will be able to carry the company and get it over.
Is he still active in the ring, or I see posts from him? I'm not sure whether he's or maybe you don't know, but he's got to be around late 40s, 50 now. But the last time I saw him, he looked to be in tremendous shape.
Danny's like maybe like 2 years younger than me, maybe 49, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, man, the man. I mean, I could look it up, but yeah, I mean, he still wrestles, he still performs. I mean, he looks great. So if he could continue doing what he's doing, why stop?
Oh, 100%. Here you are. I found this to be an impressive spot, given the old flapjack
flapjack, man, classic.
Flapjack, yeah, to Roadkill here. Does that prevent or present rather any additional difficulty to make the move look good, to get that height when you've got a big man, or is it all in leverage?
It's all about leverage and just getting that momentum going, and able to lift him off the ground. So yeah, once you throw a guy to the ropes and you're able to time it right, you definitely could, just get him up in the air without any hesitation.
And you'll notice the folks in the crowd, the match was definitely over with them, because they're not on their phones. They're not, up for a washroom break. Both teams were definitely over at that time in the end of ECW, correct?
Well, I mean, the other thing is that back in those days, they didn't really have
phones.
So that's the only downside that you can't say they were picking up their phones to take pictures because that wasn't the case back in the days. So yeah, there was no phone. They had the cell phones, but they only had games on it.
That's right. And DeVito was, or maybe still is, a deceptively strong individual for his size. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean he did moonsaults. He was very agile, and Danny's 50, and so DeVito, it's a hell of a talent, man. I mean, I wish he got more opportunities in other organizations. I mean, he won the tag team title with what's his name? Oh yeah, HC Loke.
Mm-hmm.
But Carnage Crew. I mean, he done something that we couldn't have done in ECW is when the straps. So I wish he would have got more opportunities in WWE. Especially with his knowledge and the years that he wrestled. Even though Big Vito was there before him.
Is he? I know we talked about this about 6-7 months ago. Has he hung it up, or is he being coy about that?
No, I just saw something on. Excuse me. I just saw something on Facebook that he is performing in January 4th at in Poughkeepsie. Yeah, for the company Awesome Championship Wrestling, Poughkeepsie, New York. Tony DeVito, Poughkeepsie Rumble.
Oh, good for him. Not too far from me. I might check that out.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, it's midget matches, so he's going to do good.
And let's talk about their finisher, where Roadkill holds you reverse style like that, and the timing has to be precise. Leg drop, Alabama Jam, whatever you call it, right off the
top rope.
Now, this probably looks as dangerous to execute as it is. What are your thoughts on taking that, especially when you got I know you're very cognizant of your neck and that sort of thing. Did you ever have a concern? Did they come to you in the locker room and said, this is our finish? Do you have any blah, blah, blah? Or how did that go down?
No, but it was, let me see. I remember, that move and stuff, and they didn't come up to me. I think we collaborated together to come up with that finish. So, yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, they always took care of me. Like I said, I never got hurt with those guys. The people that you thought was smooth was stiff, and the people that you thought was stiff was smooth. So, like I said, I could wrestle Danny and Roadkill for 2 hours if that was the case, because they protect you.
And of course, the other thing, you took the pin and you sold that like an MF for about 5 minutes afterwards. How is this coming back to you now that you see some frames? What are your thoughts on the match in general?
I mean, it was an awesome match.
You're still selling here.
Yeah, we were just like celebrating. Fans was clapping and stuff. So I remember that. It was a good match. It was a strong match, and we just had a good time. So, like I said, anytime I get to wrestle my friends, it's awesome.
And there they are celebrating as the last ever original ECW tag team champions. They were signed to Ohio Valley for a while, correct? And then they were never called up to I know Roadkill was apparently doing some training for WWE, but they never got called up to the main roster. Any idea why they seem to have it all?
No, Danny went to the ECW, the new ECW. I know Roadkill was in OVW as I'm trying to remember the name. He had these mutton chops. He almost looked like the Bruisabellum type of thing, type of gimmick, if I remember correctly. And he hurt his back or something. I can't remember the whole story, but I know he has like surgery done. So he kind of hurt himself.
But they never got that run on the main roster, either Raw or SmackDown.
I know they wrestled as a tryout in Madison Square Garden. I knew that. But yeah, I don't know the reason why they didn't get an opportunity. But I know Danny did his little run with the ECW brand of WWE.
Mm-hmm. When you were on this show, did you have any inclination that it was going to be the last original ECW show at the arena, or was it just another date for you?
No, we didn't know because the problem was we didn't know the company went under until after because they were supposed to go to Michigan. I think that was the upcoming show, and I decided not to go because they weren't flying nobody and everybody was driving.
Mm, mm,
You know, so yeah, so that's the thing. So I didn't know it was the last show.
mm. It's interesting that you know, you when you were doing your work for ECW, you probably didn't. Well, they had TV, so you knew it was a big deal. But did you have any sort of inclination that it was going to be something that we'd be talking about all these decades later? The company.
No, I never thought about it, man. I figured. I don't know, dude. It's just so funny that it doesn't seem that long ago, and then when people talk about it, like it was 24 years ago, and it just doesn't seem like that. It just seems like it was just only yesterday, and it's just weird. It's just a weird feeling where you just I don't know, man. It only seems like yesterday, just hanging out with your friends and kicking it.
Mm-hmm. Well, if the fans enjoyed your analysis into this match, we'll definitely bring it back
Bring it.
again. Next time. I think we'll look at one of your Puerto Rico affairs if you have any ideas for something along those lines.
No, absolutely, man. I'm down, man. I'm down to do anything that you want to do, man. If you want to bring up stuff from the past, and go over it, I have no reluctance to talk about it because I am not afraid to address any issues, any concerns. You know what I mean?
Hmm. And closer to the next event, we'll break down for those fans that didn't see it how Big Daddy Oreo made a fool out of himself and
Big Daddy Oreo,
got beat up.
cookies
The
and cream.
the double stuff. The title of our primary discussion for this show, though, is the greatest valets, the wrestling valets of all time. And there's an extensive list. I want your insights on some of them. This is by no means a scientific study or one that can't be debated. I think
It
number
can't be
one and number
duplicated.
can't be duplicated. Well, it probably can be duplicated, but I don't think you can argue number one and number two. But I'm not going through the first batch in any sort of order. But start off with Woman, Fallen Angel, Nancy Benoit. You never worked with her in ECW, correct?
No, we never crossed paths. I only heard stories about her. Nothing negative. I mean, no, yeah, negative. But I mean, I heard she was just, again, I'm not talking bad of the dead. It's just that I just knew her stories that she was just had an ego and, thought her shit didn't stink and she had an attitude. But again, I don't know. I never experienced that because I never met the woman. I'm just going off what people told me. Now, like if you ask me about Tammy or if you ask me about, people that I've been with, for like Francine and Dawn Marie and Electra and Jasmine St. Clair. Yeah, I was around those people, so I have firsthand experience of the good, the bad, who was good to me, who was mean to me, who I hold high in regards, who I'm like I don't give two shits about. I could tell you.
Well, definitely going to touch on some of those names. Yeah, Nancy Benoit had a pretty successful run in Florida with Kevin Sullivan doing that quasi satanic gimmick thing.
Oh
and
yeah,
and then in WCW, first managing Doom, and involved in that angle with Sullivan and Benoit, where Sullivan supposedly booked his own divorce. I thought that was good stuff, and then later went on to manage the Four Horsemen in WCW, but also Sandman in ECW, and I think she put in some memorable performances there. But moving on to Dawn Marie from ECW, also had that, in my opinion, horrendous run in WWE where she was targeting Tori Wilson's father, Don, and they were doing a May December thing. I thought that was not what I was interested in anyway. But what a good run managing the Impact players of Just Incredible and Lance Storm. What are your memories of Don?
Dawn was awesome, man. Like I said, she always treated me nice, always welcomed me with open arms. Even though, I mean, the story was she had heat with Francine and stuff like that. They didn't like each other for some weird reason. I don't know what the reason was, but I was really good good friends with both of them. Um, like I said, Dawn was always nice to me. Francine was always nice to me. She was great. Like I hold Francine in high regards. Because I talked to her more, and we had a bond. So we was always chopping it up. So yeah, Dawn's a good person. Never done me any wrong. She always did what she was told, and for matches, and she was an asset to ECW to put over the Impact players and to to get involved in the matches. It was a good run.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the lesser publicized ones in this day and age, and I think she's gone on to a successful life working in the medical field, and she's a
That I
mom,
know.
so good for her. And I don't want this to
Because she might check my prostate if she was
well, that's clearly an important consideration for those of us in the age range. So there's your public service announcement from the Kingpin. Moving on, and I don't want to make this too ECW heavy, but for some reason there's a lot of names on the list. What about Balula McGillicuddy, Tommy Dreamer's
Balua?
Balua,
Beulah.
I could never pronounce it correctly, but
Beulah.
Dreamer, what say it?
Beulah McGillicuddy.
Sorry.
Beulah. Balua.
Beulah.
It's not beluga caviar.
That's what I got on my mind, being a big money player, right? All the good stuff, the fine things in life.
Awesome. Wait till Tommy Dreamer gets a wind of this. I'm going to send him this video. Hey, Tommy, look what he said about Beulah.
Well, that's funny because I used to be a dead ringer for Tommy in our younger days. But what do you think about her contribution to ECW? Not only in terms of the valet role that she played, but what about that match with
Fonzie
with the blood? My God, that was impressive. Probably the best women's match or intergender one I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, yeah, Beulah was a staple in ECW. She was the one. I mean, Francine was there, but I'm just saying, like, I guess if you put a pecking order, she was, at the time, the main female on the roster. I mean, she had a lot to contribute to ECW. She was very well liked. She was real popular. So yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the match with her and Fonzie was just legendary, especially the way Fonzie was bleeding all over the ring. I mean, it was classic. I bet you people didn't even think that was going to be a memorable match. And when they proved the fans wrong or the critics wrong, people were just eating crow, because to this day, people would like either bring up the footage or talk about it. So yeah, it made a mark in history for her and Fonzie.
Yeah, and I had an opportunity to meet her in the ECW arena there in 2014 for a House of Hardcore event, and couldn't have been a more gracious and nicer person. Moving away from ECW for a minute, though, what about one of the pioneers, a real standout from the last of the territory days, who had a brief, I guess, run in WWF, the one and only First Lady of Wrestling, Missy Hyatt. Did you ever encounter her professionally?
Yeah, but we didn't really talk. She was more tight with DeVito because DeVito knew her. I mean, she says hi, but it was, again, I used to have a huge crush on her when I was a kid, when she was on the cover of PWI with Eddie Gilbert by the pool. Oh man, yep. that was some prime real estate back in the days, especially for a 16-year-old, But then, as the years went on, and I'm not making fun of her, and I'm not, trying to knock her because she's a nice person, but she just had a lot of work done, and it just like she was just a very beautiful woman, and she didn't need none of that work. I just think that natural beauty just shines out of people, and but like I said, we weren't really talkative. Hi and bye. Hi, nice meeting you. Good to see you again. That type of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had an opportunity last year, the year before, to interview her for the Hannibal TV, and that's she's a wrestling historian too. If you follow her on X, she's always got keen insight. So I enjoy her account. What about one of my favorites from Jim Crockett Promotions. Another talent that I've had an opportunity to interview, the Perfect 10 baby doll, Nicola Roberts, Tully Blanchard's valet, and then involved in that angle with Tully and Dusty Rhodes that culminated in that tremendous cage match with Dusty and Starcade, the I Quit. What do you think about Baby Doll and her work in JCP?
Well, the only problem in regards to with Baby Doll is that I only knew her when I was a fan. I wasn't in the business. So, I mean, it was good angles, good stories. So, yeah, I mean, it kept me glued to my seat in regards to watching those type of matches with Tully Blanchard and Baby Doll, or Peaches,
Precious Peaches, yeah, she's
yeah,
on the list too.
yeah, she,
World class.
like I said, being a fan without being like stepping in the ring and watching it, it kept me entertained and kept me glued to my TV to find out what was going to happen next. If I remember correctly, damn, it's been so long ago, but I remember Ronnie Garvin in a dress. I didn't know if he was dressed up as Peaches to pretend he was Peaches, or I think it was
Precious. It was the angle with Ric Flair
the hotel
and
room, right?
yeah, and Jimmy Garvin, and they had a vignette where JJ was there setting out the caviar and the champagne, and I guess Jimmy had dropped a match to Flair and got the stipulation for one night with her, and Ronnie Garvin showed up. You see Flair taking the stole out off, and Ronnie turns around and knocks Flair out. That's good stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I remember that, and like I said, it was classic TV, and that's what I mean. Everything was a soap opera, so and that's why. Look, I still remember it. It's just it was so hard to pinpoint like what was the angle and stuff, but I still remember it because it was just original. It was a classic, and yeah, those valets done a lot in this business to keep us entertained. So yeah.
What about a divisive figure now, but one that you've had some, and you touched on earlier, some professional interaction with, currently serving a lengthy prison term, and that would be Sonny Tammy Sitch.
What about it? We already kind of talked about it. I mean,
her contribution first as a valet in the territories, and
I
then
don't think she could hold. I don't think she could hold a candle compared to the other women that have been in the industry. I mean, yeah, she was the first diva. I think she was more eye candy than more involved in regards to keeping the fans entertained. Like I said, she was all TNA. I have nothing against the woman. I met the woman, but she had an ego. She thought her shit didn't stink. She thought her pussy spit out fucking rose petals. And I just don't think that was a fact.
That would be something to see.
No, I know, but the thing is that everybody was just all like, "Oh, Sonny," and I'm just like, you know what made me disgusted by her? And I'll tell you a straight shoot, I really don't give a fuck. But when I first met her, she was peeling the calluses off her heel with one of those like razor. It was a razor gimmick that they use for like calluses on your feet, and she had her legs crossed, like crossed to peel the calluses off, and she was on the rag. I could see the blood on the panties, and after right there, that illusion of like this beautiful woman, it just kind of like put that shit to reality. Like she's just nothing but a nasty, nasty female, and I just don't believe the bullshit hype. So, so that's why I just didn't give a fuck about her when she was in ECW. I didn't disrespect her; I showed her respect, but I wasn't like licking her asshole just because she was Sunny, because that's what she wanted. She wanted everybody, oh, you're the greatest, you're awesome, and I'm just like, no. None of my business.
She and Candido, they were deep dealing with their demons at that time too, correct?
Yeah, and Candido was an awesome dude, really nice, yes. Man. I feel bad for what he went through with her, but everybody got their demons, everybody got the love of their life that they don't want to let go. And she treated the dude wrong, man. She punked him, and there's a lot of guys that need to be punked, but that he was not one of them because he was so nice, man. The most nicest guy, most caring guy, most giving guy. He will sit down and talk to you. So, I mean, yeah, I felt bad for him.
Yeah, and shout out to Johnny, his brother Candido, that I've had the opportunity to interview a couple of times.
Did you have to pay for that?
Pardon me?
Did you have to pay for an interview with him?
With Johnny?
Yeah, just ask him.
No. He was very open to getting the word out about his brother's legacy after Sonny went to prison, because I think and I agree with him 100%. I think, for too long, she's, obscured his accomplishments in the business, and he needs more flowers, as the kids say. So he's doing his part to keep that alive, and he needs to be, in my opinion, in the Hall of Fame for sure.
Who, Candido?
Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Candido's I mean, he definitely needs to, be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he gave a lot to this business, and it's just Sonny was the one that just kind of like destroyed everything for the guy, and like I said, man, he should not have gone through that shit, So
What
I don't know.
about
I have no respect for her.
What about her arch rival that also gets a lot of props as a valet, Sable? One that honestly I didn't really see much in terms of personality.
No, man. I mean, she was a career killer, and jokingly, like, she wasn't really a wrestler. She was more of just TNA and fucking bra and panty matches. I mean, she killed fucking Mark Marrow's career, because as soon as she power bombed him, that fucked his whole career up. So, I just think, like I said, she wasn't that great. She was just tits and ass for the show, and that's why the ratings went up. But I don't think she'll be able to hold a match. Even the Bella Twins couldn't hold a match. They were garbage.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you there either. Did you ever come across Terry Runnels' Marlena in Independence, or what did you think of her first with the York Foundation in WCW, and then Gold Dust, of course, in WWF?
Well, the York Foundation, I liked it because it was the computerized man, Terry Taylor, and then it was Ricky Morton. I don't know what the gimmick was. Same gimmick, but I don't think it was a computerized. I forgot the name of Ricky Morton's character.
Richard Morton, and the computer she would be at ringside.
Yeah.
With the
and she'll analyze the match and give it the stats, like what to do,
the next move, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
But I didn't know, like, if he had a monarchy, like Terry Taylor, the computerized man, Terry Taylor, because that was
just Richard Morton, I believe.
Okay.
And Thomas Rich.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. I just remember it, and it was good, man. It was good. She was she didn't really play the valet. She played as kind of an analyst person, somebody in the background to put the stats in the computer and give them the best odds of winning. So it was kind of interesting, kind of different. It was a big ass computer too that she was carrying. So
probably 30 pounds.
Probably. But yeah, I mean, I never met her, but that was a good gimmick, the computerized man and Richard Morton. It was something different.
What about the cigar chomping Marlena with Goldust in WWE?
That, no, it was just, I mean, I don't think it didn't stand out the way it did with the York Foundation, so I mean, because like I said, if she was really that important, they wouldn't have got rid of her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just like Paul Bearer type of situation, they would have kept them, used them for other things, but still bring them back to the fold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Back to ECW again. A person who's very active out on the convention scene, and a highly successful podcaster. And I know you were around at her time, and you mentioned her before, Francine.
Yeah, Francine's awesome, man. Francine, you know why I really like Francine? True story.
She's tough?
No. It has nothing to do with her. Oh, yeah, she's awesome wrestling ability, all that stuff. She's tough. What made Francine great for me is because of the live bait videotape of Chastity. I talked about it a little bit in the Hannibal TV interview, but when I was the one that exposed the live bait of Chastity's pornography career before she went to WCW and worked with Sandman, and she got released because there was a morals clause that they had to let her go. So the reason I bought the tape to the arena, it was at the Tabernacle building in New Jersey, I think it was called. And when everybody was watching the tape, at that point, I was kind of green mentally, and I'm like, oh shit, I got heat. And everybody was like in front of me, watching the monitor. And I was kind of like off to the back, a little bit away from everybody, like contemplating, like, did I make the right choice? So I noticed Francine to my left, and she looked at me and she came over to me and she says, "Don't worry, sweetie, you got no heat. That's her fault. Don't feel like you're in trouble because you have no heat." So I mean, she took the time, and she didn't have to walk all the way where I was standing because she thought it was in my brain. I mean, it's not like I was nervous or I was just thinking, and she knew that was weighing on my mind, and she eased my mind, and that's why I always hold her in high regards, because a lot of these valets don't, some of them, I'm not saying all of them, it's just there's some people that this shit don't stink, don't give a fuck. She didn't know me, and she took that extra step to reassure me that everything was going to be okay. And that's why I always hold her at the high level that I always have been, and always mention her, and always happy to see her. So yeah, no, she's the queen of extreme. She's tough, all that stuff that everybody sees on TV. But if you pull back the curtain, she's also a compassionate person and cares about how people feel.
Yeah, and Scorch here is saying that kimchi was an underrated valet. Very, very true.
I love kimchi, man, especially
Yeah.
when I go to those Vietnamese restaurants and put that shit on some white rice. Delicious.
I think he meant Steve Lombardi, but moving on to a talent that was in ECW, and then, but of course, made her real bones with as a wrestler in WWF, with that feud with Trish Stratus, another person on this list for her time as a valet to Test and Albert, but that feud with Trish Stratus, and I'm talking about Lita, and I know you have a story about your interactions with her.
Which was with Lita?
Lita, yeah.
Well, me and Leah have a history together. I mean, even mentioned in her book in regards to, I think we were in like Winston, Virginia. I got the picture on my phone. She had a tryout match. She was my valet versus Big Vito, old school at the time. And she really, really performed ridiculously and really stood out. And Paul really liked what she did in the ring. So I was her first match she managed in ECW. And she did great. And Lita is just, like I said, every time I see her, she's always caring. She's always wonderful. She's a class act, nothing negative about her, So yeah, I'm always happy to see her on TV. I'm always happy when they still use her. I'm happy that she even thought about mentioning me in the book, in the book. So yeah, she's a good woman. There's three people. Like I said, Francine number one. I put Lita and Jazz. Jazz is awesome.
Jazz is another one on the list, but also one heck of a female wrestler, a very, very tough woman, and I think she just retired, but Rodney Mack is still active, so good for them. Now, getting down to brass tacks, the top two that I think are, well, everything's debatable, but I think a lot of people agree on these two. I'm going to start with, an argument for one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time, but also had a tremendous run as a valet for Randy Savage, Buddy
Fabulous
Rose.
Moolah?
No. Buddy Rose and Doug Summers, Macho Man. I mentioned Macho Man.
Luna Vachon?
No, she's on that list too.
Oh.
But also Ric Flair in WCW. You know what I'm talking about. Sensational Sherry Martel.
Oh man, sensational Sherry, man. That woman took some bumps. She done a lot for this business, I mean, I wish she was still alive because she had a lot to contribute and also teach a lot of women how to really work. So, I mean, that woman, like, I never met her. DeVito met her, I think, and I always heard nice things about her. I mean, I saw the dark side of the ring and all the negative stuff that it talked about, the gimmicks and her son. I think her son got jaw cancer or some shit like that. And I think the guy's younger than me, and he just looks really thin and frail. Again, I'm not knocking him. I just feel bad for the guy. But she was awesome, man. She was one that took some ridiculous bumps. Man, dude, I wish she was still around. She had a lot to offer.
Yeah, it's that Dark Side of the Ring episode is a real tearjerker. It's kind of sad that someone with her level of talent, and oh, I forgot she was also the manageress, valet, whatever you want to call it, for Harlem Heat. That was probably her last big spotlight position, but it
Oh, I
was sad.
love that one. Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan,
me
we're
too.
coming for you, nigga.
Well, I'm gonna let that one go, but uh, love making me feel uncomfortable. That's awesome. It still works after all these years. But it was unfortunate that due to her demons and et cetera, that
but
at
the
the
thing,
end she couldn't get a job, or they
but the
let her
thing,
go from WCW.
yeah, and I understand that, but and I understand it's the dark side of the ring. But I mean, they could put me on the dark side of the ring, and they'll put that David Banner 1977 theme music at the end. It make anything sad, you know. So I mean, yes, you had demons. Everybody has demons, and maybe she couldn't beat the gimmicks and stuff, but like I said, they could have helped her. They could. There was a way, you know. There was always a way. You know, maybe she needed a job. Maybe if they would have got her a job, said, "Hey, man, we'll give you another chance, but you have to go through this program, and we'll let you work while you're in this program. But if you slip up, it's a wrap." You know, I mean, there's so many opportunities like that. But again, I don't know if that was offered. So, but like I said, she just had a lot to offer, and I think that they needed a way to extract that knowledge and try other avenues to try to make her better to help other people grow, because her demons, she could tell people her story of what she went through, so people don't have to go through that the
Mm-hmm.
same way, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Magazine Retriever is saying Sherry Martel is widely regarded as being one of the friendliest people who ever worked in the business. By all accounts, everyone enjoyed working with Sherry. Yeah, heard
Yeah,
that.
never heard no negative thing about her. I mean, besides what, you know, the gimmicks and stuff like that, but never heard nothing bad about her. She was just tough, you know.
Yeah, a great Hall of Fame talent for sure. What about the number one slot that, although, and again, no disrespect to anybody that's been left off this brief discussion, uh, including that individual, your compadre. How's he doing? Talk to
He's
him
doing
lately.
good.
He's going to come on the show,
Yeah,
hopefully. Eh?
I keep trying to, you know, I got to do it myself because his black ass won't fucking help me out. He's like, oh yeah, I got you. Man, if I was in jail waiting for him to bail me out, man, I'd be doing some like time in there. So I think I got to just, you know, call the office and just, you know, cut a promo and say, hey, I want to use him, you know, on my podcast and force his hand because he's too busy. He's superstar. DDP.
Well, it could be a brief 15-minute window because I'm certainly a fan of his work and Swerve Strickland in AEW.
Now, easy, brother. Don't put none of that over. He's okay. You know, I mean, Jesus, he's not the whole, he's not reinventing management, you know.
Oh, that's predictable coming from yourself. You don't want to put anybody over, right? The number one spot across all of these sort of reviews, it seems that there's a consensus that the greatest valet of all time would be Miss Elizabeth, based on her classic tenure with Macho Man Savage. She was then with Flair in WCW, and finally Luger. But all those great moments from our childhood in WWF seems to get her the top spot. You disagree?
I disagree 100%. I mean, she's nice. No, listen, she is nice. She's very respectful. She never caused any problems. But as the greatest manager, I just don't really see that she like Sherry Martel is like, she got involved. She was a great manager.
Slash valet.
Yeah, slash valet. She was just valet, you know, shivering in the corner, and yeah, she pulled Sherry Martel off of Macho Man. But I mean, yeah, she's good, but she wasn't like, oh my god.
What about SummerSlam with the
Mega Powers?
Deal with the skirt being coming off, and then
what about the
Mega Powers exploding with the lust in her?
She didn't do anything.
No,
she was just scenery. What did she do? Yeah, the skirt came off, and she did this, and he put on the show, and she was like this, and then she got carried to the back and laid on the gurney, and she was laying on the gurney, and then Macho Man dove right over. I mean, it was not like it was not like something like using this as an example, like she did an angle where she betrayed the Macho Man and pretended that she loved him, and then she tricked him, and she fell in love with Hogan and screwed him over for the heavyweight champion because she used his love against him. Man, that's a story. That's a soap opera in the making. But for her just to stand there and go, oh, help, don't hit me. I don't think she was the greatest manager. I'm not going to do what everybody else out there on every podcast, like, she was awesome, she was great. I'm not knocking her as a person. I'm just saying, like, I just didn't see that she was a massive contribute to go, man, dude, I remember the match where she did this, you know what I mean? Sherry Martel took some bumps off the apron. Did you see that fucking bump that she took off the apron onto the concrete? Did you see when was it Hogan? Somebody lifted her up over the head and threw her into somebody, and they caught her. I forgot which one was that, because I keep getting it mixed up with Earl Hebner. But yeah, man, like I said, she done some shit, and I don't think Elizabeth will ever step to the plate to do that. With all due respect to the dead.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
I'm biting a callus.
That's okay. At least you're not pulling it off like Tammy did. I think I agree with you 100%. My personal number one would be Sherry Martel too.
Yeah.
Starting back with her work in the AWA, I thought she was very effective on the mic, the screech, the whole deal. And
okay. You know how I could look at it like this, like Peaches and Precious. When you see Precious and those two in the ring, right? Let's say it was like, Iceman King Parson, he comes in the ring and he's looking at the crowd and he's pointing her and she's doing this, right? And then Ronnie Garvin comes and hits Iceman King Parson in the back of the head and she takes off, right? She slides out the ring while Garvin is beating him up. The Sherry Martel version will be the same thing. Garvin hits, Parson takes the powder, and guess what Sherry does? Instead of taking a powder, she jumps in and starts stomping the shit. They throw him off the ropes. They miss the clothesline. He double clotheslines, both of them. They both take the bump and they roll out. See, that's the part where you like Sherry Martel got involved. Yeah, Precious and Peaches and all that, they did great as valets, but they wouldn't take it to the next level as Sherry Martel.
Yeah.
That's why I hold it like here.
Yeah, I agree. There wasn't much that she could not do. Roy Ray is pointing out Sherry was a mentor to Luna. So he's asking this question. Another male, when he was with the Brood, he was a valet Gangrel. Did you have any? He worked for Great North Wrestling a lot. Tremendous guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
Big talent. Did you enjoy him as part of that package?
I love the Brood. I mean, it was just something different. It was just something that coming out through the floor with the flames, the blood coming in, drinking the blood. It was just another gimmick that stood out. So, I mean, hell of a wrestler from watching him on TV. I met him a couple times doing an autograph signing. Like I said, nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he was underrated, meaning like they could have used them instead of when Edge was in WWE and they shit on it to like, nah, we're not bringing them, and then they brought him back in AEW. When they could have used them in WWE for that angle, but they dropped the ball. They didn't think it was going to go over. Put it this way, the WWE's problem is that do you come up with an idea and they don't really want to put the effort to make it work? You know what I mean? They can make it work. But when they go, nah, I don't think it's going to work, that means they don't have any interest and they don't have any faith in that person. But when you put it in another company and then it goes over like in AEW and it went over, they're like, fuck, we should have done that. It's the could have, would have, should have scenario, But yeah, they could put, just like the Roman Reigns situation, he sucked. Boo, Roman sucks, and they just kept molding it and changing it and working it until he finally did the bloodline when he caught on. But how many years was he being shit on by the fans? And WWE backed him. They just kept, we'll fix it, we'll figure it out, we'll make it work, and they made it work. Mm-hmm. It's what they didn't want to invest. If they didn't want to invest, that's all it is.
One fan, David Martin Graff, is saying, "Hey, everybody, love the show. Would the Incredible Hulk, David Banner, need a bodyguard?"
I don't get it.
Would the Incredible Hulk, David Banner, need a bodyguard if he wasn't change? See, get it?
Yeah.
If he wasn't the Hulk, would he need a bodyguard?
Yeah, absolutely, man. The guy was always getting his ass kicked by everybody on TV, and then he changed into the Hulk. So, yeah, yeah, I agree. He needs a bodyguard, man. The guy's always getting in trouble. He didn't mind his own business. He was always sticking his nose when it didn't belong.
Mhm.
I would have definitely mind my business if I definitely had that green monster in me.
No kidding. The king of the streets, however, does not need a bodyguard. Again, we've left off some names such as Miss Linda, Jacqueline.
It's a
Um,
lot. It's a lot.
there's a lot, and no disrespect to them. Just wanted to have a bit of a sampling of some of the noteworthy ones that stand out. And again, we've probably left off many, but Sherry Martell's got to get the nod from the big money players here. Kingpin, we're at the hour 10 mark. This has been a very interesting show. This will be our last show of the year because you are going to have a vacation. We'll be back in January, I believe, the middle of the month, with a show that I'm looking forward to, dedicated to the most dangerous finishers in the business. And I know you've got a lot to say about that,
Oh yeah.
being a hardcore guy. But do you have any final thoughts for the fans?
Well, I mean, absolutely, man. I really appreciate the fans out there supporting, shooting from the hip. We do this, for you. Sorry, we don't do it as much, but we don't. Again, I always said we don't want to overdo it and get you guys all like, this sucks, this is boring. So we just want to just spring it on you when it happens. But I want to wish all you guys out there, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Stay safe out there. I'll be in Puerto Rico while you're freezing. I'll be enjoying life. I'm going to try, no guarantees, try to find the site where Bruiser Brody got killed.
Yeah.
Just to take a clean, I got to figure it out. Maybe you can help me to find out where that location is, to see if it's too far from where I'm at. But I just want to at least take an opportunity just to go there and take some pictures and just, praise the man. But, just keep watching Shooting from the Hip. There's more to come. 2025 is definitely going to be a bigger year. And just keep watching, man, and keep supporting the channel. The Hannibal TV, because I don't want to say the wrong one.
Well, just a brief correction there. I will not be freezing. I will be spending the holidays in Horseman Country, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So it can be in the 70s there. So thank God for that. One of my favorite places on earth. And I want to just, before we go, plug the upcoming career interview that Hannibal did with you yesterday. That is coming up. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I'm not putting myself over, but
not at all.
It was awesome. It was a great opportunity, hanging out with Hannibal, first class all the way. Like I said, words can't describe how I was treated. So definitely check out the interview. Hannibal always does a great interview and asks the tough questions, and he didn't hold any punches with me. I went home crying, took a shower, pulled out the rosaries because I pulled out some demons.
That's amazing. But the question is, did you put me over? And I think I know the answer. Not a chance.
It was all about me, man. I mean, it was not about the big money players. It was about the Kingpins and his career. But, fair enough. But again, wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you in 2025. Definitely check us out.
Well, fans, that's it for the final edition of Shooting from the Hip for this year, 2024. Nice. It's been a pleasure doing this podcast this year. Look forward to doing it with the Kingpin next year, and all the Great North Wrestling endeavors that we're going to be rolling out. But again, please subscribe to the Hannibal TV. We're going to be over 400,000 and only more good stuff to come. So I'm Jack Kilby signing off for now. Make sure that you also, before I forget, have the notification button so you don't miss a thing. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot